Hi, my name is Schmenk, and I'd like to talk to you today about kindred spirits. Kindred spirits is a term that really resonates with me, but I found it kind of hard to explain, so of course I looked it up. I found a great article by Susanna Weiss in a publication called Mind, Body, and Green, and she said that kindred spirits are people who share common interests, values, and worldviews. They resonate at the same frequency, and they have matching energy. I have lots of friends who I think of as kindred spirits. A couple of them are here today, and I love to be with them. But you know, when I'm around people and I don't feel that, when it's missing, I kind of feel like a fish out of water. Have you ever felt that way? Well, I have. And you know, when I've thought about finding kindred spirits, I've typically thought about finding them here in my hometown or here in the United States. But boy, was I surprised when in 2019, I traveled halfway around the world and I found kindred spirits in Japan. But then I started wondering why. So to answer, I had to look back several decades. I had to think about what the village of Yori, Japan, means to Marysville. And then I had to think about what Marysville means to me. I grew up here in Marysville. I love my hometown. It was a quiet, kind of sleepy town. I grew up in the 1960s and the 70s. And the population of Marysville was about 6,500 people, barely a city. You know, we had no real global population or exposure here in Marysville. Our idea of tasting and seeing the world was to make a Chef Boyardee box pizza or maybe boil some ramen noodles. I had never heard of things like sushi. I never thought I would travel outside the United States. Our idea of kind of a big trip was to get in our family station wagon and maybe go see a national park. So I graduated from high school in 1977. Our graduating class here at Marysville High School was about 200 people. And at that same time, in fact, the very same year, 1977, as I was leaving Marysville, I started hearing about a company called Honda coming into Marysville. You know, Honda had no connection at all with Marysville, let alone Ohio. I don't think it really had manufacturing facilities yet in the United States. So how and why did they choose Marysville? Well, apparently they were attracted by people who were very much like them, open, friendly, welcoming, hardworking. Apparently they went uptown to McCarthy's Pharmacy, which was kind of the hot spot when I was growing up, had the nickel cup of coffees that were sold there, and just watched the people of Marysville and Union County. And they saw people who were honest and open and hardworking and friendly. One of my predecessor county commissioners, Glenn Irwin, apparently said that we know how to make things here in Marysville and in Union County. We know how to grow corn, beans, and cars. You know, I think there were some initial concerns at first with a Japanese company coming in. There were still some World War II vets who had animosity and, you know, a little discomfort with things like white uniforms. But gradually, people grew to really, really trust and enjoy that cross-cultural exchange. And people of Union County appreciated being treated as equals. So fast forward to 2013, 36 years later, after Honda had chosen Marysville as its U.S. hometown, it was commemorated with a Friendship City Partnership. And the city of Yori, Japan was selected for our Friendship City with the city of Marysville. Yori has a similar Honda facility, and I think that was one of the reasons. What that Friendship City relationship meant was a commitment to get to know each other, to become better familiar with each other's cultures, languages, and to strengthen ties. It was kind of a kindred spirit relationship. And since then, there have been delegations of students and adults going and coming, and it's been a great relationship. So fast forward, I came back to Marysville, and in Marysville, I got involved and active. I took office as a county commissioner in 2019, and one of the first things that my fellow two commissioners said to me was, "You're going to Japan this fall." I had never thought about traveling that far away. But I got prepared with help from our economic development team, and I took language and culture classes. We all were kind of trained how to behave, how to be respectful, and I felt very just excited about being able to get prepared for that trip. It was kind of hard to get my Marysville tongue around some of the language, especially phrases like hajime mashite and arigato gozaimasu. But one that quickly came easily for me was the phrase kanpei, because we got prepared for sake toasts that we would take in Japan. So in the fall of 2019, we embarked on our trip to Japan. It was to be a 13-day trip that started in Tokyo. I was amazed by what I saw in Tokyo. I like to jog, so I got up in the morning and ran. And it was fascinating. The city was clean, it was beautiful. But I was a little bit bewildered. I felt a little bit like a fish out of water because of the crowds and the closeness. But I really liked the energy and the people. Next, we went to Osaka, and that was exciting. Neon lights and the nightlife and the amazing different food. Very different feeling, though, from Marysville. Still kind of feeling a little bit like a fish out of water. But finally, we went to Yori, Japan, and that's where I found my kindred spirits. I had read up about Yori, and its profile sounded eerily familiar. It's about 40 miles from the big city of Tokyo. It's somewhat rural to get there. Population 30 to 40,000. The major employer, Honda. It had a mayor-council form of government. And the school system sounded pretty familiar to me. They have about 6 elementary schools, 3 public middle schools, a public high school. That, to me, sounded like Marysville. And as we pulled into Yori, I really started to feel like home. And that became even more important to me and more apparent as I got to know the people of Yori. They were very welcoming, they were very friendly, they were proud of their community. I had an instant bond with the women who were on their city council. And the host for our trip was the CEO of their Chamber of Commerce, which is very similar to what happens here in Marysville. They had a mayor-council form of government, which was just amazing, and they treated us to wonderful food, wonderful dinners. I was able to use my new skills saying kanpei during a night of karaoke, and their mayor was great at singing New York, New York, and Dust in the Wind. When we went on our trip to Honda, their Honda facility, I really felt like I was back in home. We saw the same white uniforms, the same respect for each other as employees, and I just felt the comfort of knowing that they were just like us. So the fish was back in water. Although we were halfway around the world, I had found my kindred spirits. Remember that Susanna Weiss article that I referred to earlier? It says that you can recognize a kindred spirit by looking for 7 signs. You feel at peace with that person. You have a lot in common. You learn about yourself through them. You can kind of tell what they're thinking. They support you. You feel like you know them right away. And you feel like you are one with them. That's what I felt in Yori. You know, one story says it all. When we got ready to leave to come home, I turned to my new friends and I said, "Sayonara." And they said, "We will see you soon in Marysville." We were truly kindred spirits. And then I knew I was home, even halfway around the world. Thank you.